Hey, my name is Jake Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about a company that is launching interest-only mortgages for residential purchases and in particular for first-time buyers. Now, this could be an absolute game changer for people looking to get onto the property ladder because by going interest-only, you could significantly reduce your monthly payments. You could also borrow more money, but on the downside, you might have difficulty paying off your mortgage at the end if you don't have a plan in place. So in this video, we're going to look at the pros and cons of interest-only mortgages, how you can use one if you want to buy a residential property with that, and most importantly, who's lending this and what kind of rates can you get and what costs does this involve to get people onto the property ladder. Now, if you're new around here and you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We're on the way to 44,000 subscribers. And by subscribing, you'll get all the latest property news on interest rates, house prices, property investing, and much, much more. And a quick favour, make sure you help me get some more views on this video by smashing like, tickling like, doing something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that's really helped the channel grow. So thank you to everybody that does that. So what's going on? Interest-only mortgages haven't been really popular for quite some time now. I started my property investing journey in 1999. I bought a studio flat that you can see on the older videos on this channel for £45,000, which was a bit of a bargain back then. And back then you could get what was called an endowment mortgage. An endowment mortgage was where half of your mortgage you paid just interest only, and the other part was a repayment mechanism that was going to pay the mortgage debt back ultimately at the end. Now, that was invested for you, and so the company, I think they were called Winter for Life, the ones that I used, and they would invest in the stock market, and then every year you'd get a little report and it would say how well it was doing and if you were on target or not on target. Now, ultimately, a lot of these endowments were invested badly and people didn't get enough money to pay off their mortgages at the end. This meant that there was lots of misselling cases and lots of people just got ultimately freaked out by these endowment mortgages, and then repayment mortgages became the more common way, and that's what most people have right now. But there's a company called Generation Home. We've talked about them a few times on the channel because they are getting creative with how they lend money to people, and they want to get first-time buyers to try interest only. Now, interest only, what is it? Let's quickly explain that. So an interest-only mortgage is if we had this and it was 25 years and this was the money that you borrowed. Let's just say you borrowed £100,000. Now, I've got other colour pens here, guys, hidden away. Let's see if this one works. I haven't used it for a while. If you were on a repayment mortgage, you would pay down, and over the 25 years, your balance would go to zero. And that's what normal mortgages do. That's what a repayment mortgage does. Maybe you've got one of those already. But on an interest-only mortgage, this 100 grand, you're just paying the interest. So in 25 years, you're still going to owe that 100 grand to the bank, and you need a way of paying it down. And that's what endowments did. So endowment mortgages, they did that because you had a separate payment that went into the stock market and was invested for you. And hopefully that would match the debt that you've got at the end and you could pay down your mortgage. But Generation Home are launching just an interest-only mortgage, which is the same as a buy-to-let mortgage effectively. And they're saying that if you can give them a 20% deposit, so lower than a buy-to-let, because buy-to-lets normally are 25%. So that's one good thing here. If you can give them a 25% deposit and your household income is more than 50k. And so that can be with two people though. That doesn't have to be 50k from one person. You could have one on 30, one on 20, some sort of configuration like that. The household income needs to be 50 grand in order to do that. And in that scenario, they will lend you 200k on a mortgage, which is not bad. So in this scenario, you need 40 grand as your deposit. Now, this works for some people. And so what kind of rates could you get in this scenario? Well, the rates are a little bit more expensive. And so they have a 2-year deal. And on the 2-year deal, the rate is 5.38%. And on that's a 5-year deal. Messed up there. That's the 5-year deal. The 2-year deal is 5.44%. And the fees on both of these are £1,499. Now, if you took out a £200,000 loan with these guys at this lower rate on the 5-year deal, your monthly payments would be £896. Now, I'll be honest, I think this is a good option for some people. Now, what I want to say is that if you go into an interest-only mortgage, you have to have some way to pay this off. You've really got to think about what your criteria is going to be to do that. Now, you'll be able to make payments to these guys if you've got a bonus, or you can just pay an extra payment to them. Maybe you could set aside another £200 a month, £300 a month, whatever you can afford to start paying down that mortgage. That is important that you do that. Otherwise, in 20 years, you're going to still owe £200,000. But if this got you onto the property market, let's just say you were paying £1,500 in rent, but you could move into this property for £896 and you own the property, but you haven't started paying it down. You do own the 20% that you put in as your deposit. I think that's a good thing, because what you're doing is stopping the house prices going up anymore and running away from you. And it gives you that option to get that property, get something that you like, and then start paying it down. You've got to make sure, if you did look at something like this, that you do focus on doing the repayment. Don't leave it for a long period of time. But it is a good option for people to get out of rent, get on the property ladder, and start getting that monthly payment paid. And it's affordable to start with. And that, I think, if you were renting, if I was renting for 1,500 quid and I've got the option of this and I've got the deposit, that's important, then this could be an option. Now, they do have other deals where you don't get quite as good a rate, you get a worse rate with a smaller deposit. Those could be an option as well. But what I will say is that I do think that other lenders are going to start doing similar kind of deals. Generation Home are creative. We've seen them come out with all sorts of different products over the last few months. But I do think that other lenders will follow suit, because the market is slowing down. House prices are at a level that they want to find a way that it can be affordable for people. And so the affordability is based off your monthly payment. And this, because you're only paying the interest part and not the repayment part, does mean your monthly payment drops, meaning you can borrow more money, and meaning the affordability can work for some people. So I'm not saying go and be reckless and invest in interest only with no plan to pay it down. But if I was paying 1,500 quid and I had an option with a deposit, maybe some money from parents, or you have that money already, I'd consider this. My children, Georgia is 24. If she wanted to do this kind of deal, would I? Like, absolutely, I would say go for it. If she could get and afford a repayment mortgage, obviously we'd go for that as well. But if this was the only option, I mean, this is a good option for some people, but you've got to do it with caution. Let me know in the comments what you think. I think these types of products are going to get more popular, and that will keep some momentum going in the property market. But do comment below with your thoughts. Do smash like, do subscribe, do check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.